Cedric's a 14-year-old boy. He had never been to Texas Lions camp before. In fact, he was so excited to be there that he had a smile so big that his cheeks made his eyes close. And he smiled all the time. He was from the inner city of Houston. And he kept telling me that he was homesick. See, a few months earlier, him and his dad had left to go get his mom medicine because she had been sick. When they came back, she had passed away. This was his first time away from home. He even asked me, Adam, do you think I can put a picture of her up underneath my bunk? Or do you think the other boys would make fun of me? Of course, being the good counselor that I am, I said, if they do, I will end them. I said, you should do it, it's great. Put it up. I asked him what his goal was while he was here at camp. He said, Adam, I want to climb the rock wall. Now, this wasn't impossible, but it definitely was improbable. See, he was this tall, and he was as wide as he was tall. We had scheduled some time at the rock wall the next day, so I guess we'd see. Lisa is a 15-year-old student that I was interviewing about teenage social media usage. See, she was having some issues with boys sliding into her DMs. That's direct messages, for those of you who still remember your AOL and Juno emails. She said they kept saying these brave and crazy things to her, and then she'd see them in the hallway, and they'd turn and run the other way. She said, Mister, you really have to talk to them. So here I am. This came from the same student who said that if she uploaded a picture to Instagram and didn't get between 50 and 70 likes in the first hour, then she would delete it and upload a different one. Have you ever walked a tightrope? Not a real one, but like as a kid, you saw the line painted on the asphalt, or the line in the concrete, and you just stepped one foot in front of the other, raised your hands, and tried to balance yourself? Now you'd probably fall to one side or the other. But there wasn't a lot to risk, so you'd get back up and try it again. Our students are having to walk a tightrope. So they walk one foot in front of the other. And oftentimes, if they fall to one side. And this side right here, this side is the side of staying busy. Our current students are so busy trying to get the perfect grades or trying to get perfect test scores. They desperately want to get into the college of their dreams. The pressure system is so high that in the 2017 Johns Hopkins Health Review, they noted that there was a sharp increase of 20 to 30% in depression and anxiety amongst our students. It was among 12 to 17-year-olds. See, in this high-pressure system that exists on the side of being busy, we see that perfectionism is not attainable and it's not sustainable for our students. And yet, we push them to do more. We push them to get scholarships. We push them to get the perfect mate or the perfect job. And we mean well. We really want what's best for them. But we push them and we push them to the brink of anxiety and stress. This pressure that we keep putting on them is tragically exhausting our newest generation. So, they get back up on the tightrope. And they keep walking. And if they don't fall to the side of busy, then inevitably they fall to the side of numb. If I can't choose perfect grades, if I can't get the best test scores, and if I can't get the biggest scholarships, if I can't get into the college that I've wanted to go to since I was 5, then I choose numbness. What's the point of getting perfect test scores when I can play Fortnite all day, every day? What does it matter about the perfect photo that I put on Instagram when I can simply do drugs to escape? And why should I be worried about my job or my career when I can simply escape life altogether by taking my own? Our students are numb. They're binge watching YouTube and taking endless selfies that mean nothing more than felt cute today. We send a snap, and then we check our snap, and then we send a snap, and then we check our snap, and each time it gets more and more numb. This constant checking and rechecking, hoping that some sort of feeling will break them out of the boredom. A friend told me in passing that we've never taught our students how to be alone, so they will forever be lonely. They're world travelers from the comfort of their own bedrooms. They get real-time information and real-time facts about things happening all over the world and conflicts that are happening in different places. They're no longer sitting in their bedrooms with their own emotions, their own thoughts, and their own imagination. They're now sitting in their bedrooms with the thoughts, the emotions, and the imagination of every friend, every non-friend, and every stranger in the world. The most alarming statistic that I've heard is that 46% of our students self-report that they only get 4 hours or less of sleep a night. Typically, it's because they're awake in their digital world. We know that the typical adolescent brain needs between 8 to 10 hours of rest for it to be healthy. So there's a direct link between lack of sleep and anxiety and depression. They're busy and they're numb. The problem with numbness is that it shows up in different ways. It can show up in comparison to other people. It can show up in being inappropriate online, but it can also show up in self-harm and our ever-growing suicide rates. If Gen Z falls to the side of busy, or if they fall to the side of numb, very often they fall off the tightrope altogether, and there is no safety net to catch them. If they post an inappropriate picture online, if they say certain crude things to someone else, if they scream things in certain places and to certain people, they no longer get into the college they want. And they no longer can have the job that they've been searching for. So what are our options? Well, we hear this and we desperately don't want them to fail, online or in person. So what do? We jump on our students' tightrope and we hold them and we walk it with them. We're worried about either side, and so we tread with them every step of the way. This tightrope is too risky for our families and for our students, so we limit it. We're scared that they won't make the right decision, so we push them to be busy, or we allow them to be numb, and we don't let them find a balance between the two. It took me 3 hours to download a photo in the internet of my youth. Remember? You could have dinner first and then come back and it was still downloading. Maybe it's just me. It's why we're unprepared and it's why we're scared of the internet of our today and how our students are going to walk that tightrope. So we try to steer them. Again, we push them to busy. We allow them to be numb. This walk that we're doing with them, this steering that we're doing, is the very thing that's crippling this generation and forcing them to one side or the other. We do owe them a gift, but that gift is not us. That gift is not us directing their path and us making the decisions for them. What's the gift? The gift is the gift of struggle. When I say struggle, I mean to fight with, to grapple with, to wrestle with. We have to allow them to wrestle with the balance of being busy or feeling numb. The struggle that I'm talking about is the struggle where they are reading, experiencing, watching mature adult material on their device every single day, online and in person. And yet they don't have the adult maturity in their brains to be able to talk about what they're seeing and analyze it from a healthy perspective. See, we're letting YouTube educate our kids. And that's why their makeup is on point. But their social lives are a disaster. They can contour, but they can't communicate. What happened to the line in middle school? I don't know. The last statistic I heard from Building Cultures of Dignity was that 75% of 12-year-old boys are regularly looking at pornography online. It's commonplace in our middle school bathrooms to find students vaping. Families across the country are looking for homeschool options because they're scared to send their kid back to the school where they were being bullied. We hear this, and our first instinct is to jump back up on the tightrope, to take the reins away from our students and carry them back along the path. But that isn't meant to be our role. What's our role? We need to become our students' safety net. We need to stand underneath them and catch them when they fall and remind them that they are loved regardless of how well they do in school or how well they do in the big game. We can help them formulate a plan, but then we have to push and help them get back up on their tightrope. It is their walk. It is their tightrope. We can walk alongside and cheer. We can even help them think through conflicts. But they are the ones that have to find the balance, not us. If we let Generation Z struggle and learn to find their own solutions with our support, they'll figure out solutions that we never could have imagined. They are the ones that have to hold in tension this busy and numb while they find balance. If we do it for them, they'll never learn. In fact, they'll never figure out the grit and the resiliency that they so desperately need to succeed in this life. Remember Lisa? She was the one who was so worried about her Instagram photos that they wouldn't be perfect enough to post online. That she wasn't going to get the likes and the comments that she was so desperate for. See, she needed to be encouraged to stop those boys in the hallway when they tried to run away. To talk to the boys when they slid into her DMs, and for her to say to them, I am more than just my photos. I am more than this outer shell. I am a heart, a soul, a body, and a mind. And if that intimidates you so much that you have to run away from me after the things you said to me in private, then I have just one thing to say to you. Next! I don't have enough time on this planet to spend it with people who don't care about this entire package. See, she needed to learn how to set boundaries and how to communicate those boundaries to people when they cross them. Then there's Cedric. We showed up at the rock room, and immediately he grabbed me by the hand and said, Adam, come watch. I stood there and I was praying for angels in the outfield to come in and carry him through the obstacle course. So it was a camp miracle. But they didn't show up. He stepped with one foot and he reached with his hand and he started to reach with the other. And my heart is in my shoes. All this kid wanted to do was climb the rock wall. He reached up with one more hand and then he came down. What was I going to say to him? He just lost his mom. What could I do to encourage him? We could have actually set up a levee system and pulled the rope so that he could climb up. But we didn't do that because Cedric wanted to do it on his own. And when he came down, he turned around and he had the biggest smile I've ever seen. And he came running up to me and he said, Adam, did you see how far I got? That's farther than I've ever gotten in my life. And then he asked me, do you think my mom would be proud of me? And I lost it. And I said, your mom's proud of you, I'm proud of you, the grass is proud of you, that horse over there is proud of you. See, Cedric just wanted someone to cheer him on while he was figuring out his own balancing act. We all look at our tightropes in this life, and we see how far we have left to go. We see the dangers on either side, but we rarely look back to see how far we've come in our pride. Our students today have a lot to be proud of because they've walked a long way on a tightrope that's more dangerous than any of us have ever walked. We owe it to them to stand underneath them as a safety net, to show them that they can find balance in a world that celebrates the busy and the numb. Thank you.